Hello, hi there. So let me just adjust my microphone here. Sorry. And who do we have here? Hi, thanks for joining me. I like that pizza face. How are y'all? Bonjour, Paris. Bonjour de Paris. Hello. Hey, Mitch Kirkwood, Paula. Wow, everybody's here. Hey, how are you? Thank you for joining me. Oh, we've still got monkeys too. You can tap the screen and get monkeys. Technically, festivities here in Taiwan are still going on for Chinese New Year, and I'll tell you about that in a sec. I'm just heading to this cool urban park here called Songshan Park that I'm taking you along with. This is just a poster of a building development that I'm scoping right now, and that's what they're building. They're still building here in Taipei, believe it or not. It's one of the most densely populated places in the world, and they're still building. Yeah, that's a picture of Taipei 101, and we'll see the real thing in a sec here. I'll be able to show you a real view of it, but thank you for the hearts and the monkeys. It's John Sabo, Far East Adventure Travel in Taiwan, Taipei to be precise. So let's go for a walk here. It's not very far away, and it's a really cool park. I'm going there to buy something for breakfast. They have a really amazing bakery there. It's a bakery that's originally from Kaohsiung in southern Taiwan, and it's a very famous bakery here. And they have lineups to get stuff at this bakery on the weekends. It's crazy. You have to wait your turn to go into the store. It's so busy. But that's what it's like living in such a densely populated place, especially on the weekends in Taipei. You really see how many people live here. There's over 8 million in the whole greater Taipei area, which does make it one of the most densely populated places in the world. Not the most densely populated, but one of them for sure. So this is just a little street that we're walking down towards this park, and you can probably hear all of the construction in the background. Yeah, the 7-Eleven is bigger here, I bet you, than in the United States or anywhere else for that matter. Convenience stores are huge here. They're definitely different. It's not a munchie store like it is in the States. It's super convenient. You can pay your bills at 7-Eleven. I rode my bike around Taiwan last year, and I had to change one of the wheels, and I shipped my old wheel back to my place in Taipei through 7-Eleven, and it cost me like, I don't know, $5 or $6 or something like that to courier it back to my place. You can do anything at 7-Eleven, and so they're really, I think, really different than the ones in the West for sure. Hey, Kirkwood, how are you, my friend? How is it going? The mighty 7-Eleven. This is a big police station here, Taipei Police Station. And look at this, the cherry blossoms. I believe these are cherry blossoms. Let me have a look here. Yes, I think those are cherry blossoms. They're starting to pop open. Look at that. Hey, you had your surgery. How are you doing, my friend? I hope you're well. I know you said it was Tuesday, right? That you did that. So cherry blossoms, and there is Taipei 101 right there. You can see peeking out from the other buildings, but it's the tallest building on the island. It's the tallest building in East Asia. Used to be the tallest in the world. You're sore as hell, I bet. You had hip surgery. I mean, of course, you're going to be sore for a while. So I hope you're resting and getting better. They're blooming 2 months earlier in the UK. Oh, wow. That's very interesting. Well, I think they're on time here. They might be a little bit early here. This is Taiwan. This is not China. This is the Republic of China, though. It's called the Republic of China, but it's actually Taiwan, the island. 23 million people. Mild winter, but you know, I'll tell you, in Taiwan here, we've had so much rain in northern Taiwan recently. So much rain, and I haven't been scoping the last couple of days because it's so miserable. Well, there's a combination of both. On these buildings here are retail on the bottom, which mostly, to maximize space, most of them have retail on the bottom, unless it's a really solid, just residential area. And then residents on the top, and this is a little pond outside here. This is Songshan Park, and look at these beautiful koi. They're so big. It is like Japan, yes. Well, this was a Japanese colony at one time. And this place I'm taking you to right now is actually, it was built by, when Japanese occupied Taiwan. And it's an old cigarette factory. Hey, New Zealand, how are you? And this is a really, really cool place. If you ever come to Taipei, you want to come to Songshan Park. It's, I remember a friend took me here a couple of years ago, and I was like, wow, this is so cool. But wait till you see the buildings. Thank you for the hearts and the monkeys. I'm in Taipei today. Hello, Buffalo. How are you? Buffalo, New York. Nice. Nice of you to join us. I'm in Taipei today and tomorrow, and then I'm heading south. I'm heading to Tainan. This is the city. It's afternoon here. It is about 3:30 in the afternoon here. I thought this app is supposed to have the time on it now. It's supposed to have local time on the new app I updated, but maybe it's not showing yet. No, people love Japan here. They've forgotten all about the bad stuff, to be honest. A lot of people, especially older people, older people. Now, this is going way back, but they're still around. Taichung. Why skip Taichung? No, don't skip Taichung. Taichung is great. Giant chicken, yeah. This is a sort of an artsy area too. What was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. Well, somebody remind me what I was talking about. Oh, okay. Well, that's good to know. I'll just still remember the time, though. Hello, Atlanta. How are you? Thank you for joining me here. This is awesome. Anybody from the States, give me a shout out, or anywhere in the world, and I'd love to say hello to you. It's John Sabo in Taipei. Giant Chinese chicken, yes. Well, there's lots of art exhibits in here, and sculptures and outdoor art everywhere you can probably see. Hey, Sweden. So it's a really inspiring place if you're an artist to come to, but it used to be. Right, older people in Japan. Okay, so the older people here, some of them can still, speak Japanese, because you had to speak Japanese here at one time. Hey, Denver. And Elite, yes, this is outside Elite. Some of those people miss Japan, Taiwan as a colony of Japan, because they say there was more order here. If you go to Japan, there's lots of order, and there is here to a certain extent, but not the same way as in Japan. Most of the indigenous communities are on the east coast of the island, and a lot in the mountains. Here close to Taipei, there's a community in Wulai, which is in the mountains, and that was hit by the big typhoon here last year. And that's a good place to go if you want to see the indigenous people. But the east coast is where a lot of indigenous tribes are. So there is some, obviously there's some, the Japanese were a little bit brutal in their ruling for sure, but there are people here that miss, Taiwan as a colony of Japan, and the Japanese did do a lot of things here. They did leave a lot of infrastructure here. Do the indigenous people still maintain their language? Yes. I mean, there's not very many of them though. There's maybe only a couple 100,000, if that even. But they do. I've met some that they do have a language they still use or speak, but most of them, can speak Mandarin or need to because of, you have to communicate here. Well, hello. How are you? Are you in Indonesia or Malaysia? Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum. This is the Elite Hotel Complex Retail, very cool place. And as I was saying before, this is it used to be a cigarette factory, and this house here is very cool, old style, super retro old style. This is probably where the manager lived, or one of the managers. Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure. And Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the hearts, the monkeys. It's the year of the monkey. I was saying that festivities are still going on here, usually up until 2 weeks after the first day of Lunar New Year. So this weekend is some of the ones are wrapping up. The big Sky Lantern Festival is happening here, and then the big fireworks festival down in Tainan is happening. That's where I'm going to be going. Hello, Australia. I'm in Taipei, Taiwan. This is Songshan Creative Cultural Park. And as you can see, it has that very kind of industrial look to it. And this was a big cigarette factory at one time, or tobacco factory. And there's another park in Taipei that used to be a distillery that they've turned into kind of this cool urban space now. Oh, thank you so much. Well, I live in Asia. I love Asia. I write about it. I talk about it. I'm a broadcaster. I actually host a couple of podcasts on iTunes called Far East Adventure Travel. Would love for you to check those out. And I would really love it if you'd give me a review in iTunes. If you have an iTunes account, I'd be so happy if you give me a nice review of my podcast, especially if you're from the United States. That would be so helpful to me right now because it helps with my ranking and popularity in the iTunes store. So just a little shout out for some help. That would be really, really sweet and nice. I'd really appreciate that. And it's kind of a cool show. It's all about stuff in Asia, culture, adventure, food, people. I interviewed my friend who's working on a village up in Nepal, is rebuilding a village, Derek Cowan, and he's a periscoper as well. You may have heard of him. He's very popular. And I interviewed him on one of my latest podcasts this week. And there's all kinds of stuff about Nepal, Japan, Korea, Taiwan. So it'd be really cool if you check that out. This is Songshan Park here in Taiwan. This is the Cultural and Creative Park. So they have lots of exhibits and shows on here. I'm not sure what's going on right now. They've had really cool art exhibits here before. There was a Life exhibit here about a year and a half ago, Life magazine tour, where they toured all the pictures, the old photographs. Okay, goodbye, thank you so much. And they have lots of kid type shows here as well. And they have a funky market here usually on the weekend, and they've got these vans, these sort of little food trucks set up. And they dish out foods, local snacks and drinks and tea and stuff like that. And this place here is really cool. This is Elite Spectrum. This is a chain of bookstores in Taiwan. They sell more than just books, records, like everything. And they have on the third floor, they have some really, really cool places you can sit and have cold tea or hot tea, Taiwan tea, and look out at a really nice view of the park here. It's really super special. I remember the first time I saw it, I just thought, wow, this is so East Asian. It's so cool. And it's just something that you got to see if you come to Taipei. And this place is really easy to find as well. It's just near Taipei City Hall. Hey, thanks for joining me. Hey, and feel free to share the broadcast with everybody as well. It's super easy. Just swipe the screen left to right on iOS or up on Android, or just tap the little guy in the corner. Just hit share to your followers. Would be really cool to share this right now. We've got a break in the rain here in Taipei, so it's really nice to be walking outside without an umbrella. These are some of the outdoor sculptures that are being exhibited right now, and so some really cool, inspiring art here. And there's lots of green space here, and the city has more plans to put more green space in and beautify the city. The city in some parts is not the most attractive city, but they've done a really good job in some areas of really beautifying the city and doing things like they've done here. Hello, London. How are you? Thank you for joining me. Great to have you here. And it's morning there. Hey, it's afternoon here. It's mid-afternoon. Well, it's about just past 3:30. Thank you for joining me in Taipei. And this is the Songshan Cultural Park here. And if it looks kind of industrial to you, it's because it used to be a cigarette factory. This is a factory, and all of this space has been turned into exhibits and retail. Oh, I'll be in Taiwan for a few more weeks, and then I'll probably be heading off to Thailand, but then I'll come back. I'm here for a lot of the Lunar Festival activities, and I'm heading down south for a big fireworks festival on Sunday. And then the following week I'll check out, they're going to have another Sky Lantern festival. But typically these festivals happen up until 2 weeks after Lunar New Year. So this year Lunar New Year was on the 8th, so it kind of wraps up about the 22nd, but then there'll be a lantern festival here as well in Taipei that I will scope from. So I'll be scoping from most of these things and giving you some insight into cultural activities here. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, though. I'm always going, but at least I like what I do. If you want to do something on your own, pick something that you really like to do, because you'll be working at it a lot, and in some cases you'll be working for a while before you make money or a lot of money. So these are some more of the art exhibits that are currently on display here. And thank you for joining me here in Taipei. Thank you so much if you just joined us. And this is, you see, like Taiwan is tropical. Half the island is tropical. The northern half, where I'm at right now, where I'm scoping from, is subtropical. But all of this stuff grows here, like all of these palms and ferns all grow here because it's relatively mild. We've had a little bit of a cold snap here the last couple of days, but for most of the year it's quite warm and quite mild. And then in the south, where I'm heading to on Sunday, is considered tropical. And thank you for joining us here. I think you're from Korea, aren't you? Thank you so much. Kamsahamnida. But I can't speak Korean other than saying thank you. But thank you for joining us. Hey, Paula. And hey, Paula, if you get a chance, please review my podcast. I really need your help. To get some more reviews on iTunes would be really awesome. Thank you. This is the Songshan Creative Park here in Taipei, and I'm just going to walk back this way as well. Oh, that'd be so awesome. Thank you. And anybody else for that matter, if you're watching and you check out my podcast on iTunes called Far East Adventure Travel. I actually have two. The newest one is a black and white picture of me. The profile picture is a black and white picture of me with some people that in a Aka village in Laos. Yes, I have been to the tall building. I've scoped from the tall building before, Taipei 101. So if you go into the iTunes and you see those shows, if you have an iTunes account, if you could have a listen and write me a review, it'd be so helpful right now. It really would help my overall livelihood. Would be great. Thank you so much. Yes, I've been to Taipei 101. I've scoped from Taipei 101 before. It's it's one of the highest buildings in the world still, because China's developed so much over the last few years. China has got a couple of buildings that have overtaken Taipei 101. Taipei 101 was the tallest building in the world for 6 years, from 2004 to 2010. And before that, it was the Petronas Towers in Kuala Lumpur, and I've been there too. Actually, if you check out my video podcast on iTunes, there's a podcast on my trip to the Petronas Towers for a tour there and some views from the Petronas Towers. Last year I was there last October. Thank you. If you tap the screen, you get monkeys and hearts because it's Chinese New Year. Jinian Kuai Happy New Year from Taipei. And this is the big hotel and retail complex here, and the Songshan Creative Park in Taipei. And if you haven't said hello, say hello. I'd love to say hi back to you from wherever you are in the world. We've got people from the States. I don't know what time I think it's morning in Europe, in most of Europe, right? And it would be really, really late or really, really early if you're on the east coast of the United States or Canada. And on the west coast, it's really, really late, right? So thank you for joining me. West Kelowna, how are you? This is Songshan Creative Park here in Taipei. It's a pretty mild day right now. I have a down jacket on. Well, that's good. I have a down jacket on, but I have it unzipped, and you can see people are kind of bundled up here. It's kind of chilly for us. It's maybe about 16 degrees, but you need to wear warmer clothing when it's like that here because the weather is so damp. When it chills down, it gets really quite cold. But it's not raining right now, which is a revelation in the last couple of days. But we were really lucky here at the beginning of Chinese New Year or Lunar New Year. We had some beautiful weathers. There were some days where you could just wear a t-shirt outside. It was 27, 28 degrees. Last Saturday, I went for a nice 3-hour bike ride along the river here, and it was so nice. Hey, Ollie, and you're back. And so it was really, really nice. Thank you for the hearts and monkeys, by the way. Really appreciate that. It was really nice here at the beginning of the Lunar New Year. 8:53 in Paris. Oh, very good. And my friend Claire there. Miss her. No problem. Thank you for joining. Thank you for coming back. That's so nice of you. This is Songshan Park and some of the outdoor exhibits that are currently on display here as part of an art show, outdoor art show. And thank you for joining me. Any questions about Taiwan, shoot them my way, Taipei. It is still basically Lunar New Year festivities are still going on, and there's many festivals happening. There's one called, I think it's called Handan in Taidong, and what they do is they have a guy that sort of acts as like a god, and they throw firecrackers at him. And it's a crazy festival. I haven't been to that one personally yet, but I'd love to get down there. The festivities will continue, 2 weeks after Lunar New Year. So by next week, they should be wrapping up. But there still will be some lantern festivals. Lantern festivals are really popular here. So it's a, more or less you go at night when you can really see everything lit up. And they have all kinds of different characters that they've made out of this paper. And they're lanterns, and they'll use, stories and different old Chinese characters. And it's really, really beautiful. Handan, that's right. That's right. Laugh out loud. Okay, well, you deserve to laugh at me for that one. Handan, yeah, it's a festival down south, and it's very, very cool. I just saw it on Facebook. Somebody had posted something up. And, the Lantern Festival is just about newness of the year. I think it's all about renewal. And light is very much part of festivals in this part of the world. The Hindu festival called Diwali is a festival of lights, and they put lots of candles and lanterns out and things. And here it's very important as well. It's part of the renewal of life. And I think it goes back to Buddhism. I can't be 100% sure, but so a lot of these festivals are sort of connected in some way to Buddhism. And so that's why they have a Lantern Festival here, and I'm going down to the Yanshui Bihai Festival this weekend to scope from there and do some filming for a upcoming podcast of their incredibly crazy, dangerous firework festival. It's one of the most dangerous festivals in the world. So I'm going to be scoping from down there. So you'll have to check me out. I'm going to be heading down on the train on Sunday. Oh, very cool. Yeah, well, there's, of course, their Asian community is spread out all over the world, so they take their festivals with them, and you can see them everywhere. No, Cantonese is not really spoken here. That's more southern China, Hong Kong. Mandarin is the official language here. But they also speak, there's a few people that speak Hakka, which is a dialect in China. And Taiwanese, which is kind of from Fujianese dialect, and that's another language. It's spoken more in the south, and a lot older people speak it a lot. It was kind of the original sort of Chinese language here before it became the Republic of China. Well, I don't know. Categorizing them as official, Mandarin is the #1 language. But if you go on the MRT subway in Taipei, they announce the stops in 4 different languages. So they announce it in Mandarin, Taiwanese, Hakka, and English. So in most places you can hear that, and then in some of the department stores they will make announcements in Japanese as well, because they get Japanese tourists here. And like this elite store here, if they have announcements, they'll make an announcement in Mandarin, in English, and in Japanese. I just speak a little bit, very little, and I can understand a little. But it's just something that really, every time somebody asks me that, I get mad at myself because I haven't taken more time to learn the language. But I travel a lot in Asia, so I'm on the road a lot. If I was here all the time, it would be much easier to focus and concentrate and take a course. But I'll be out of the country again next month for a while, and I was away for 2 months last year. I know they just sound like excuses. I shouldn't be saying. I should just be focusing. But I do speak a little bit. I understand a little. And this is a really good place to come and learn because, people here are reluctant to speak English even if they know it. So it does force you to learn more. In Southeast Asia, many people can speak English as well. So if they can see you can't speak their native language, and most people, especially if you're in Cambodia or Laos, they don't expect you to speak that language, so they learn English. Yes, very hands-on, yes. And so, a lot of people do come here to study. There's universities here, and a lot of people come here to study Mandarin because it's a good place to study. It's easy to be lazy whenever. Well, this is why I like Taiwan, because it forces me to have to learn a language. If I was in, Phnom Penh or Vientiane or Hoi An or someplace like that, I could get by. I could speak English every day, find people to speak English every day, and it would be really easy. But here, it's a little more challenging, and it's more challenging for them to learn because they don't have as many Westerners coming here, not as much of a big expat population here to mingle around with as there are in Southeast Asia. So this is why it becomes a little more. So they have lots of little language groups here. People get together to practice English if they want to learn it better. And then many people from here will go and study abroad to learn better. And you can always tell when you meet somebody here if they've studied abroad, just because they're English, they're a lot more confident with their English. And I love Taiwan too, I'll tell you. I really love Taiwan. I love the culture, the people. I fell in love with it like 3 years ago now. It's going on 3 years ago now. And I was here for a week and I thought, wow, I could be here. So I packed up, and this is where I base myself out of. But I'm all over. As I was saying before, I write and I photograph Asia and talk about Asia. And I produce a couple of podcasts on iTunes. You can see them all around the world. This new cool thing called the World Wide Web. Has anybody else heard? Is it just me, or has anybody else heard about this thing, the World Wide Web? I'm just kidding, of course. But you can check me out on iTunes. That would be really cool. And if you like what you see or hear, give me a review. That would be even better. How do you like the food of Taiwan? I really like the food of Taiwan. There's some stuff, though, that I don't eat. I don't eat pork. And lots of stuff has got pork in it. It's kind of, well, I'll tell you, it's not Japanese culture, but the Japanese certainly left their imprint here. Far East Adventure Travel, I have 2 podcasts. One's a video one, one's an audio one. And they're both on iTunes. And if you're in anywhere, there's an iTunes store, you can listen to them or watch them, which is most of the world. You're using Bangkok as your home base. Oh, Bangkok is a really good place to have as a home base because you can get around Asia quite easily. Flights are direct, so it's very cool. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. But getting back to the food, yeah, I like the food. But somebody was saying about, is it Japanese culture? No, it's definitely more. People here want to think of it as a Taiwan culture, and it really is, because it's not Chinese, it's not Japanese, it's kind of a mix of everything. But it is a nice culture. The people are very different here than they are in mainland China. I can tell you that by visiting both countries. So it's a very different type of culture, but very polite. And if you've been to Japan, it would remind you of Japan, but it's probably not quite as orderly and not as strict as some of the way people conduct themselves in Japan. Well, you'll have a great time. I hope you get to see the cherry blossoms. If you go in late March, you should be able to see them in Tokyo and maybe even Kyoto. That's where I was last year at that time, and it's a wonderful time to be in Japan for sure. People are in such a good mood there, and they've gotten through the winter, and it's first real sign of spring, and it's just very nice to be there. Thank you for joining me. I'm just chatting about Taiwan and culture here. And like I said before, you can hear more of my stories on Far East Adventure Travel on iTunes. That would be so cool if you check that out. Thank you. Thanks for joining me. I'm going to come back again. Thanks for the hearts and the monkeys. And this is Songshan Cultural Park. Oh, you're welcome. I haven't been to Myanmar yet. I plan on going soon, though. It's definitely on my radar. I mean, it's becoming more open now, and the government's changed, and so you know, things are easier. There's still problems there, but things are easier than they were a couple of years ago. So I definitely have that place on my radar. But I'll be in Thailand next month, scoping from there. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me here. I'll see you again with more stuff from Lunar New Year, Chinese New Year here in Taiwan. It's John Sabot, Far East Adventure Travel. Thank you. 谢谢. Bye-bye. Oh, okay. I didn't feel like Taiwan quake. I slept through it embarrassingly. But I will be heading down to the city where a lot of the devastation happened. It was mostly in this one building, which is just a terrible tragedy here. But thank you for asking. Thank you so much.